the first topic that we're kicking off with today is GTA 6 on the PS5 Pro, 60 frames per second versus 30 frames per second. Now, a lot of people have debated whether it is going to be 60 FPS or 30 FPS. Based off what we heard from Digital Foundry, and more specifically their founder, Rich Leadbetter, he said that not going to be expecting that GTA 6 is going to be hitting 60 FPS, and that it's more likely going to be hitting potentially maybe 30 or so. Reason being is because it seems that it's only going to be about 10% faster in terms of the CPU processing power on the Pro versus the base PS5. So in terms of if it is going to get to that point, it's hard to necessarily say if it is, but based off the information from Digital Foundry, it seems like it may either hit 30 to 40, but it's hard to sort of say if it is. What's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, to be honest, I have the same sort of stance. This is something that obviously we spoke about a bit before, and I think that they're always going to aim for fidelity over frame rates. And of course, I know that you'd prefer a higher frame rate. But for me personally, I would rather like a more visually pleasing game rather than like a better performing game. Now, that being said, if we're talking about the PS5 Pro and we're talking about potentially like 30-40 frames per second with like a better fidelity, higher quality visuals, it does make you think, is the PS5, the standard PS5 and the standard Series S and X Xboxes, are they going to struggle with the game? Like, it begs the question.
Oh, for sure it does. Like, if you think about from, in regards to the base PS5 to the Pro version, like, there's a lot of things that we need to take into account. Like, if from what we are hearing from Digital Foundry that it's only going to be 10% difference in terms of the CPU power, then that's not necessarily too much. But, this is Rockstar at the end of the day. They are always pushing the limits of the consoles, and I don't see why they can't maybe try and figure out a way that they can sort of get it to, whether if it's not 60 frames per second, maybe it's sort of improving the variable refresh rate to maybe touch it up and to enhance the overall experience. So it's hard to necessarily say with Rockstar. Like, they could do some crazy thing where they could try and make it work to some degree. So it's, yeah.
I think another thing to probably like think about is, we can see that we're going to get like a 10% improvement on hardware, but there's also the chance that the software improvements and the optimization of the console could handle GTA 6 even better. For example, obviously this isn't something that neither me nor you are massively clued up on in terms of how they optimize consoles, but hardware is only 50% of it. How Sony make the PS5 Pro handle certain background tasks and stuff like that could further improve the console. So yes, the hardware is 10% better, but the software performance could give them another 10-20% of improvements.
Yeah, that's right. And the thing is as well, like, these are just the specs that have come out now. We don't know any further information as well. It's not necessarily official information from Sony, so of course we have to wait from Sony and PlayStation to give us those official details and official specs. So yeah, we just have to wait and see.